Welcome to my review of the HP Stream 8, the affordable Windows 8 tablet, supposedly. Starting off with the hardware specs. This device ships with an Intel Atom Z3735G quad-core processor. That's 4 cores, 4 threads. It is a 64-bit CPU. The display is an IPS capacitive 5-point multi-touch 1280 by 800 resolution display. It ships with 1 GB of DDR2 533 MHz RAM, which is slower than the RAM in the HP Stream 7, which ships with DDR3. It comes with a 32 gig SSD for storage. It comes with a 4G modem that accepts SIM cards. It also has 802.11b, G, and N, as well as Bluetooth 4.0 LE. The internal battery in this thing is a 3.7 volt, 4000 milliamp hour battery. They claim 8 hours of battery life, but I haven't seen it yet. It does include a micro SD card reader. It includes a SIM slot, as I mentioned before, an accelerometer so that it can auto-rotate. This device does come with GPS, however the HP Stream 7 does not. The front camera is a 2 megapixel, which can record Full HD at 1080p. The rear camera is a 5 megapixel camera, also capable of recording Full HD. This device ships with Windows 8.1 32-bit, and the reasons for this are that its limitations of 1 GB of RAM go a lot further with a 32-bit OS. It also ships with 1 free year of Office 360 and 1 terabyte of OneDrive cloud storage, as well as 60 minutes of Skype calling for free. It also gives you free 4G for life. You get 200 megabytes of T-Mobile data every month for the life of the device. Let's start with a rundown of the device, starting with the screen. The screen on this is an IPS display, which means it has good color and a bright backlight, which means you can read it outdoors. However, this display does suffer from backlight bleed. It runs at, as I said before, 1280 by 800, which is a fair resolution. The touchscreen on this device is a fingerprint magnet, far worse than other devices I've used, and I have several. The entire device itself actually suffers from the same problem. It gets smudges and fingerprints very easily, and you are constantly having to clean it. The micro USB port on the top of this device can be used in host mode, and using an adapter such as this, it can be used with several USB devices. However, the device cannot charge while doing this. The speakers in this device are reasonably good compared to what's out there, but it won't stand out from its competitors. They don't start at full volume, but they sound a little tinny, and they aren't the loudest thing, so you'll have a hard time hearing them in loud environments. That moves us into performance. Performance on this device is mixed. Its low-power Atom processor is capable of handling some light tasks, but the biggest killer for this device is its lack of memory. While it has the CPU to spare sometimes, the memory, especially when browsing, is what really gets you. Having more than a couple of tabs open will result in the device starting to chug. It can run Flash video and other videos just fine, even with its low power. I haven't gotten around to testing battery life yet, but I'd estimate it somewhere between 3 and possibly 6 hours, depending on how you're using it. They say 8 or 9, but I don't believe them. This tablet is probably not the device for everyone. The HP Stream 7 is probably a better choice for people looking for a very cheap Windows 8 tablet. The people who might want this are people that are interested in that free 4G for life. Now keep in mind, it is only 200 megabytes a month, and that isn't very much. You can maybe download a small file or two, or check your mail, or do very light web browsing. Just refreshing one page usually uses about 10 to 20 megabytes, so you have to be careful there. However, T-Mobile does let you use day passes. You can add this to your current plan, or you can buy a data plan to supplement the free data plan, but that does defeat having the free data. But the fact that it has a SIM card slot already in it means it's 4G enabled, unlike most Windows tablets at this point. Another reason why someone would be interested in this device is the fact that it comes with 1 year of Office 360, 1 terabyte of OneDrive storage for 1 year, and 60 minutes of Skype calling. The hardware itself in this device is easily bogged down, both from the very low power Intel processor and its lack of RAM. Also, for whatever reason, this tablet is missing most of the advanced power management settings. The only setting you have to control is when the tablet goes to sleep. You can't set it to dim the display or turn it off before going to sleep. You can't control the power management of wireless or power settings of the GPU or the CPU. Whether or not this is a result of the hardware, drivers, or a feature Microsoft decided to remove in their infinite wisdom, I do not know, but it does detract heavily from the tablet's usefulness. I had the very same complaint about my MacBook Air and Mac OS. It lacks any power management other than to decide when the device goes to sleep. Wi-Fi performance in this device seems on par with most tablets I've used, which is terrible. It shows a full signal, but it can barely move data, at least on my access points. If you wouldn't be interested in the 1 year of Office 360, the OneDrive storage, and the free data, paying a little more or getting an alternative with a better CPU or more RAM might be a better trade-off. If you really want that 4G data and want to buy another tablet, there is another solution on the market. Freedom Pop. They offer the same thing except for in an external box. You have to pay for the box, but you get 200 megabytes a month of 4G data for free, just like with this. However, you have to charge that device, and you have to keep it on your person whenever you want to use it. My conclusion on the HP Stream 8 is that Windows 8 or 8.1 is still a very terrible experience on a tablet or a small tablet. Their gestures are very annoying. They often are recognized when you don't want to use them. And one of the biggest gestures I had a problem with is the swipe down to close gesture. When you're in desktop and you lose an application at the top of the display, it's very difficult to grab it and drag it back down. I found a little trick though, that if you swipe left and right when you're holding it, it'll realize you want to move the window and then you can pull it down. Another problem with Windows 8 on a small device such as this is DPI scaling. DPI scaling doesn't always work with all applications. Some UI elements will be too small for you to hit with your fingers. You will miss often and get infuriated. This isn't a problem that affects Android or iOS as badly. Their UI is intended to be used with the fingers. Windows is not. The only reason I can think of buying the HP Stream 8 over the HP Stream 7 or another Windows tablet is if you want that free 4G data for life and have it built in. The Freedom Pop offer that I mentioned before will work on any other tablet and is a good alternative if you just want to spend less on the device from the beginning, or if you want to buy another tablet that has better hardware for about the same price. This has been my review of the HP Stream 8. Leave a comment if you're interested, or subscribe.